Hello, my name is Anna Naranjo, and this assignment is a portrait of an entrepreneur for Adams State University education class for educating creativity and entrepreneurial learners. The person I went ahead and researched and did a entrepreneur for is going to be the Half Code founder, Richard Black. And his slogan for this is building artificial intelligence for good. The reason why he kinda came up with half code founder, half code is just kind of a term when he talks about how it's like half smart because it's AI, AI being intelligent, but not having the human characteristics, so only being half smart, but then using artificial intelligence for good because oftentimes people assume artificial intelligence is something that is negative and could turn against the human race. So he says it's for goods for the benefit of people. So, a little bit of information about Richard Black. Richard Black is actually a 17-year-old high school student when he first became the founder and CEO of Half Code, an AI artificial intelligence company. And this was probably back in 2019, about 2 years ago. He lives in the San Francisco Bay Area and grew up tinkering with computers and robotics. And one thing that he considers himself is he's not only just a STEM entrepreneur, but he also considers himself to be a social entrepreneur. He feels very impacted on a lot of levels of not only uh, having witnessed with, gun control, gun violence, or homelessness, or other types of social injustices that he sees. So he very much finds himself to be in that social entrepreneur as much as in that STEM entrepreneur because he was kind of born into a family that does was around robotics and computers a lot. So, one quick thing before we get further into it is Halfcode Technology. Halfcode was the company he created himself, and it's an artificial intelligence company that was created for that to help visual or auditory people with disabilities. And so essentially they have these pair of glasses, and there's certain types of places on it where it has a camera or touch controls or the haptic vibrations. And what it does is it uses these smart glasses for this live streaming HD video, but it also has a bone conduction technology to the cloud and the AI platform that allows people with those auditory or visual disabilities to be able to see and hear better. So, this is really very innovative and very sophisticated technology, especially considering it's coming from a high school student. So, becoming an innovator and successful. One of the things during an interview that he attributes to becoming a successful innovator or entrepreneur is that persistence, persistence, persistence. He was very adamant about saying persistence was the thing that helped him become more successful. Not that he was not good at the other parts of innovation and STEM, but continuing on and chipping away at things. He was quoted into repeating what somebody else said is that you could have a C plus idea, but if you have A plus persistence, you're going to be successful. So that was something he really mentioned is that it was not necessarily an easy road, that he had to chip away at things and little at a time. And but after a while he was successful because he was persistent and he continued on. One of the other things that attributes to him being an innovator and successful entrepreneur is his family from uh, comes from a family of computer programmers, which enabled him to go ahead and play with the robotics and tinkering on with computers. But also, his family also had a lot of entrepreneurs in it, meaning that they were able to start off, help him out, um, just kind of give him the ideas that to continue on and do his own thing. and be successful at it. Traits that were demonstrated through his interviews or through some of the articles written about him was he was very persistent. Like I said before, he got an idea in his head and he kept on chipping away at it, and he continued on even when didn't seem it seemed kind of bleak, but he kept on going on, and was very persistent. Passionate, you could definitely tell that he is passionate not only about creating new innovative ideas, but also some of the social reasons he has. He um, he took a very stand on gun control. He talked about homelessness. He talked about people who had disadvantages that weren't able to go ahead and actually afford these glasses, and what can be done to help them actually get them if they suffer from visual or auditory blindness but not be able to afford it. He very much said he was a risk taker, that a lot of people in his classes or other times when they would kind of choose an easy way, he was taught and brought up to swim against the stream, and that the greatest rewards are often the ones with the greatest amount of risk. The other thing that he said was he was definitely wanted to make a positive impact. So not only did he like to be creative, but he also wants to have that positive influence on society around him. His last trait, which would be support from his parents, something that we see a lot of, is that not only did his parents help him to see that to take risks, and pursue what he's interested in, but um, but also to continue on and keep trying even after things don't seem as well. I think probably I looked at his invention or looked at his technology that he created, and I think it had a personal reasoning for me because I've actually had a family members that suffered from sight and hearing loss. And I think that this type of device that he created, if it was invented 10 years ago, could probably have significantly improved family members' life, um, to help them be more independent and help them live a more full life, um, comparison to not being able to see, not being able to hear. And there's definitely a need for it in the future, not only obviously in my possible future, but also, other people's, to have a long and more complete. 285 million people currently are blind or visually impaired. So this type of technology could definitely help out many people, young, old, impoverished, prosperous. So it's great technology for anybody who has visual or auditory impairments. For teaching and student learning, this has a definite positive effect, saying to the fact that Richard Black was only 17 years old when he started this half code as a business. And to think of that as a high schooler, not only finishing up on his senior year and worrying about graduating, but he is also working these crazy hour weeks of being a CEO, uh, innovator, social entrepreneur. So it's a lot to take on, but that's very encouraging to hear that students can do it if they put their minds to it. The other thing is to have students take risks and pursue what interests them. So, students hearing stories like this often get encouraged of if they hear of one student doing it, that's possible for them to do. So that could be a kind of inspirational part for students. Also talking about how his interest started off in AI, and then that interest grew into a passion, and then that passion went on to be a purpose to go ahead and help others, could again continue on as like kind of a life lesson of you find something that interests you and then turn it into something that you're passionate about with a purpose and seeing how you can benefit society in a positive way. Thank you very much for listening and allowing me to talk to you about Richard Black and his inspiration. Here's the reference slide. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening or morning, whichever it is. Thank you very much.